Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Monday, the 6th day of May, 2024. Well, let's go ahead and get started here for a Monday. See what the runes and the cards have to say. I'm waiting for the last rune to fall into my hand here in my rune bag. There we go. We have Laguz. Laguz is about flow. Laguz is the 21st rune of the Elder Futhark. With a 3 numerology for 21, there can be a sense of integration, but it's integration with spirit is what the integration is with. But it's about intuition and flow and harmony and clairsentience. If you're empathic, you can use it, you can visualize it and chant it as a magical hook to draw your energy back to you when you're dissolving channels. Some people call that cutting cords. I don't like that, though. It seems harsh. But I understand, because sometimes some of those channels or cords can feel quite vampiric, where it's just you feel like there's this icky, sticky, yucky energy that's on you, and you feel like you got to take a shower sometimes because it just seems to coat you. And so I understand why people might want to use that description. I just feel more comfortable with saying I'm dissolving channels of energy that either I've created with people or situations or memories or whatever, and or that has been attaching to me. So it's this way I feel like I can recreate them if I want to, if I just see them dissolve. But then when you're done with that process, then you use Laguz as a hook to bring all of your own stuff back to you. And so you can start again. Just start fresh in a way. Let me move my phone over here and my tea over there. Let's go ahead and I'll throw down the 4 elemental geomancy runes and see what the geomancy rune is. The below side of things. Laguz would be the above side or higher self side. So it's really, it's about purification and cleansing. It's a water element rune, and it just leaves you feeling better. But it's one half of the rune Ewaz. Did we have, let's see. When did we have Ewaz? I pull it a lot in the forecast for the week, Ewaz, and it looks like the letter M, and it's Laguz forward and reverse essentially, and so it's flowing together in harmony with others. Pretty much on a soul level, we do that anyway. We just don't remember it when we're in, when we're in the reactive ego part of things. What do we have here? Is that a 2? Yeah, that's a 2. So we have Puea, or no, I'm sorry. We have Kata Draconis. That's what we have. I'm in the wrong order there. The Draconi reflect the north and south nodes of the moon. You've got Caput for the north and Kata for the south. Caput would be the head of the dragon. Kata then would be the tail of the dragon. And so whereas Caput refers to the future, Kata refers to the past. And it can either be past life or it can just be past experiences in the current life. But it really invokes karma. And karma, in my opinion, is not the karma will get you kind of thing. It's just unfinished business. It's maybe some things you need to keep learning about because you haven't really come to terms with something maybe. And it's easier to understand that, I think, in terms of the present life and just something in the past that you've not come to terms with, than I think than it is to think about it in terms of past life. But if you're accustomed to doing that, then I think you can see the parallel. But it could just be something that's unfinished with respect to maybe harmony you have with other people, finding emotional balance. That's just not, or it could be something from the past that's informing that today. We could look at it that way. Instead of saying affecting or impacting, let's say informing, because that way you're not really going in either direction. So it's just giving you some information about how you need to flow in terms of spirit, that connection with spirit today. Let's just start out thinking about it that way. If we have to change it up a little bit as once we see the cards, it gets more specific and more further defined in terms of the details, then we'll do that. But I think that flowing in this intuitive harmony with others, flowing in spirit, letting spirit flow into everything you do. There's something about past experience that may inform some of that today. And I've already done some shuffling here before I actually turned on the video, but I do that to just sort of get myself centered and ready to do the rest of the reading. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here. Let's just go ahead and cut the deck, take the lower half, and pull down 3 cards. Well, we have Pentacles, Cups, and Wands. I think I'm just going to leave them in the order that I pulled them, not in terms of this begins it, then this is next, and then this is next. I'm not going to look at it that way yet. I have the King of Pentacles. Now, the King of Pentacles, we'll start out with him. He's probably the only king I like, but, he could also be really focused on his own stuff here. You see the same sort of presentation, well, I should say the similar presentation with the 4 of Pentacles, where you see the king sitting on a chair with his back to the kingdom, and he's standing. He's got a foot on each coin. The coins are on the ground. He's stepping on them. He's holding one really close to his heart chakra, if you will, so close to his heart, and then he has one displayed on his crown. Now, that could be looked at as miserliness. It also could be looked at as a conservative approach, maybe in terms of your family and wanting to be careful how you spend the money that you do have. Maybe you're planning for the future or something like that, and so you have to be careful. You have to be cautious or conservative. You see steers' heads on his crown, on his throne here. So there's some strength there. There's also some stubbornness. This reminds me of a lot of Taurus, the bull energy here. You see the king, basically the castle back here in the background, but his back is to it. You see grapes. He's sort of almost covered in grapes. Grapes are everywhere. They adorn his clothing, and you see what looks like. I don't think that they're roses on the crown. I think they might look more like poppies, but they could be roses. They're drawn kind of in a less rose way, but we'll say roses. But basically, he's sitting amidst his abundance here. You see one coin here on his lap. He's got his hand on it, and he's gazing at it. And he's got his scepter in the other hand with the yellow orb right here. But the King of Pentacles is successful. He's an older man, obviously. He's an authority, obviously, because he's the king. He's also concerned with his legacy. He can be fearful, but he's typically steadfast and responsible. So we're starting out with maybe some concerns here about either money issues or how he's going to manage it for his family. You don't see anybody else in the photo here, in the picture here, on the card. You don't see the queen. Queen's in her own place in the court. So there's not. He's really just reflecting right now. You can see his gaze is more reflective, similar to the way the Queen of Pentacles would be. But I think that we'll just start out saying that maybe there is something from the past that you need to learn about how to flow better in terms of abundance and letting that come to you, or how you manifest that. But generally speaking, when we talk about the king, he's already made it in a way. And so now he's just maybe reflecting on what he has and not so much at this point what he can do with it, maybe. I'm sort of getting that sort of feeling, especially with Laguz, where, spirit is flowing into that kind of experience where it's not just about him. He has responsibilities for other people. So he's less likely to be somebody who is self-centered, maybe. And then you come to the 9 of Cups, and you see this jolly fellow here. His arms are crossed, but not in a defensive posture. He's sitting on a stone bench. You see a curved wall behind him with a blue drape on it. There's yellow both above and below here. You see 9 cups sitting on top of that wall. sort of curved around him. The Nine of Cups, well, the nine is really about endings and completion. It's about spirituality and generosity. So here, he's very happy. He's very fulfilled. He's, maybe he's expressing what the king has. So maybe you've if this is an authority figure in your life or a mentor or something in your life, maybe he's explained to you what's the best way to get to abundance. How do you get there without all this struggle and all this, constantly, having to change up and go here and go there and figuring it out. He's already figured it out. And so maybe he's representing somebody here that you've gone to talk to. Maybe he's, or it's past information with Kata Draconis here. Maybe it's somebody from your past that can help you learn how to gain that type of abundance. But here we're talking about emotional satisfaction. So there's a component there with the money. The money might be one thing, but if you don't have emotional satisfaction, maybe that's the lesson here, especially given the 9 numerology. Maybe it's that you part of your abundance, your material security in life, has to do with emotional security as well. All too often we're in jobs that really aren't going to take us anywhere. We're not really happy in them, but they pay the bills, right? And so if your life is not in a place where you can go and get additional training, or if it is, that might be something that helps you might consider it, discover a way to do that so that you get into a situation that you like better, and that the money that you're making actually is more integrated with your own emotional satisfaction. It's just not the paycheck itself. Because sometimes, for some people, they don't care. Their life is elsewhere. Their work is one thing. It's just a means to an end for them. And they don't really gain that type of emotional satisfaction from work. They don't see it that way. But one of the things that he sure seems to be is emotionally satisfied in what he's done here and what he's accomplished in his life. Taurus is about my mother. I've said this before, I think either last week or week before. Taurus is, my mom was a Taurus, and she was very conservative with her money, but at the same time, she liked nice things. She just didn't have a lot of them. So she's very particular in how she spent her money to beautify her home, very much oriented to having nice landscape that she generally did herself. She never really hired anybody other than to bring bark dust in. She was very concerned about what her home looked like on the exterior. And so she derived a lot of emotional satisfaction from doing that. And so I think that seeing these two cards here paired together, the Taurian influence here on the king, very earth element oriented, all of that. She was very earth element oriented. I think that you're kind of blending the two together. That whole legacy you leave, the material satisfaction you gain, also incorporates the idea of emotional satisfaction as well. And given the 9 again, I think it aligns with Kata Draconis and the idea of endings, completion, the past. But the two connected, I think, are important. And then from there, we explode into the light. We see a hand reaching out from the clouds, exploding with a crude club in its hands, life still visible on the club, with the Ace of Wands. And Wands is the fire element. Now, we could put this at the beginning, but I think it's too much energy to then move into the more passive, because air and fire, air would be swords, and fire is wands, is reflected in the suit of wands. Those are active principles, all right? The earth and water are passive. And so again, this is about how you feel, how you feel about the material security that you've gained, how you feel about the emotional satisfaction of all of it. Once you get that all into order, then comes the Ace of Wands. So you could look at this as a new opportunity. Maybe the new opportunity that's coming your way, once you understand the connection between material security and emotional satisfaction, now you can start to look for something else, or something else is just going to come to you once you've reached that receptive level. You're receptive for it. And so who knows, maybe somebody could give you a call and say, hey, are you interested in maybe moving on to some other job, because I have a position that you'd be perfect for, something like that. And so it's the unseen hand. Okay, that's the factor here. I think it's something unexpected could happen here once you've figured this out, and you've figured out how you want to proceed in life. Then the opportunities come your way that may reflect something like that, to where you can achieve material security and emotional satisfaction both in the job that you're going to have. Ace of Wands is about creativity. It's about new opportunities. It's the spark of life. But you can see the radiating energy off of the unseen hand. This indicates from spirit, so if you will. But it could also indicate that there's something new on the horizon. You see the little castle there on the hill that could improve your material security and emotional satisfaction. So with Laguz, what I think it's telling us there is to drop resistance to that, and to view what you're doing on a daily basis as integrative. All right, let's check. I'm going to check the numerology of all of this here, but the idea that you integrate spirit into everything you do, which increases your how you see material security, and how you integrate that with emotional satisfaction at work. Again, some people don't view it that way. And for them, this reading might not, if you're that person, it might not have this type of meaning for you. But at the same time, having some integration and understanding that you should like what you're doing, you'll do a better job, really, maybe. I don't know how you can hate your job and then be emotionally satisfied. I don't know how you can split the two, basically, between your home life, your personal life, and your work life. But people do it all the time. And maybe it's because they're just simply not satisfied there, and they have to find their satisfaction in a personal way, right? With home and family and friends and whatever, you're doing. And maybe that's just the reaction. It's all you can do, but maybe you can have both. And this reading might be saying that it's okay to combine emotional satisfaction with your material security, and so with your job, in other words. And then from there, you're able to create in a way that may be a whole lot more positive, bring about new opportunities, or opportunities may just fall in your lap once you've decided, hey, this is what I want. I really want to have both together. And then it opens your awareness to other things you might not have considered in the past. Laguz could be talking about that. And again, having the past inform you. How would that do that? Well, it would do it because you realize, you know what, I really want to be happy at what I'm doing, because when I'm happy at work, then I'm coming home, I'm happy. Instead of, being miserable at work, even though it's paying the bills, you come home, you're transferring that energy on to your family or to your friends, or, to your social life, or what have you. You're not as upbeat as you might be. And so finding that integration, I think, is important. And maybe this is just suggesting that once you do, then new opportunities just might drop into your lap, to where you can express that better. So if you are in a job where you're not particularly happy and achieving emotional satisfaction, deciding, hey, I need that, and using Laguz to clear out the clutter of all the other stuff and all the attachments you've got, the emotional or energetic attachments you've got to that situation. Who knows what might come your way? The unexpected Ace of Wands energy. It's all of the aces in the Rider-Waite are like this, where the hand reaches out from the clouds. It does it in the Four of Cups as well, only the guy sitting there doesn't seem to notice. And so there is an example of getting stuck in emotions that you're not able to see anything else. Well, here I think it's defining that, yeah, it's okay. Emotional satisfaction with work, that's a good thing. And if you're not having it and you want it, then maybe it's the Ace of Wands is opening the door to that. So I don't know. that's how I seem to see this. But let me do the numerology here to see if I can get anything more. Let's see. Now we said Laguz was 21. Plus the king doesn't have one. Plus 9. And ace is a 1. That comes to 31 or 4. 31 reduces to 4. Now 4 then would be a very earthy number. It's about practicality, responsibility. It's about structure and foundation. So again, you know, it reinforces the idea that also grounding, but being able to be emotionally grounded in the work that you're doing, having that connectivity, that integration between monetary success and feeling good about all of it, feeling good about what you're doing. Whereas you might not ever find, integrate your, what you're truly passionate about, but if you can, that's even better. But at the same time, feeling good about what you're doing at work matters, and it that way when you're coming home, you're not angry about the nonsense that happened at work and how you don't feel fulfilled, and then you come home and you have to make that transition, right, to your family and to your children and your spouse, assuming that that's your family structure. Even if you just have roommates, maybe they're like, oh God, he or she's coming home. It's like, coming through the door, what will we see today? Because you don't like your job. But it's okay to find one that you do, and maybe this is just suggesting this to you. So anyhow, that's it. I think that's it for a Monday. And again, I think with the 4 numerology, I think that I think what it's implying is that structure and foundation and grounding is really important, and integrating the two, being happy with what you're doing, really can make all the difference in the rest of your life. So anyhow, I think that's it. We'll call that good for today. Check out the blog. Everything went up yesterday. If you get the newsletter, you got it on well, some of it anyway, on Saturday. But well, yeah, I mean, it's basically this. You actually get a little more in the newsletter sometimes than you do on the blog, but well, that's not true. That's not true, because I put everything there on. Yeah, never mind. Forget I said that. There's a class that's being offered through Herbal Academy that's on the blog. You can go see that if you want to. But that's why I say sometimes it's not. But it's just a shortened version maybe in the newsletter. But for more information, you go to the blog. But anyway, the blog is called Stepping Aside. The web address there is imsteppingaside.com. And also what went up, but besides the forecast for the week, was the correspondences for work and magic for the week. Also, the astrological overview is up. Exploring tarot card is up. I believe that is at the 9 of Wands this time. I think it's the 9 of Wands. But anyway, that's all up. That series is coming to a close. I've been looking at each card in the Rider-Waite, and it'll be a few more weeks though. I do, one a week. And if you want to read all that stuff, or at least some of it anyway, over on Substack, Medium, or Patreon, you're welcome to do that. If you click on more below the video, you'll see the web address for Stepping Aside, which is imsteppingaside.com. Scroll down further, you'll see other places I'm at. Over on Substack, it's called Witch Notes, and I wrote a book called Witch Notes, and so I just thought, well, I'll just call it that. And so, but over on Medium, it's just under my name, and also on Patreon, it's just under my name. And let's see, what else? I guess that's it. Have a good week. And again, if this is just something that you're starting to think about, I'd like to find something that I'm good at and I feel emotionally satisfied by, and I can feel good when I leave it at the end of the day and I'm going home into my personal life. I don't have to find some way to shut this off so I can go there. Then maybe it's time you did. Maybe you should think about this and see if you can find a way to feel better about what you're doing, even if it means remaining open to other opportunities that might come your way. So anyhow, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. If you have not yet clicked subscribe, I'd love you to do that. Give it a like if you want to. And come back again on Thursday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another. And blessed be.